Welcome to the 13th episode of Beta Test. And this is our first episode looking at a game called Vigor. Vigor assumes that there's a nuclear war in the early 1990s. Europe is completely devastated. We don't know anything about the rest. But in Norway, there are scattered survivors that are trying to forage what they could find to eke out an existence in an irradiated world. This is not Fallout's nuclear Armageddon. It's a lot more, I guess the word would be intense, but it's more reminiscent of Fallout 4's more difficult modes. I did a love it or hate it video on this a long time ago, back when I hadn't played it for very long, when I got involved in the game preview stage, but it's definitely been updated since then, and that's why my progress was erased, and I'm starting from scratch here, starting with making a character. So in the original game, you had, I believe, 6 character models, all male, and all of them quite bald. But let's see if I think they have made adjustments. I thought they added a female character option. Okay, so there's one option. And there's this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. Female. So they've added one character skin, one female character skin. I'm going to go ahead and just go with the first guy. When I make videos like this, I'd rather just get started. So the tutorial, this starts now. And if I remember this from previous games, the previous time I played it, it basically just shows me how to crawl and climb and stuff like that. So right now I'm crawling through a hole. Gotta climb over that. So the whole point of this game is to survive. And a lot of people, when the game was first announced, thought it was like a hardcore PUBG style battle royale, but it is definitely not that. It has some similar mannerisms. The graphics, as you can probably tell, are somewhat reminiscent. But in the end, it's not about killing the opponent. If anything, it's just about getting in, getting supplies, and getting out. It is up to you what you want, how you go from there. And I guess the best way to put it is, when you play a battle royale game, the rules of engagement are set for you. You're dropping into a map and you are trying to kill, or you're trying to be the last one standing, and that usually involves at least killing one person. I'll just check behind this rock just in case. It used to be you could loot vehicles and stuff. I'm just checking to see if I can loot these. But those are the rules of engagement, and it's spelled out for you. How you go about it is up to you, like what kind of equipment or gear you want to use to do that. Or if you want to be sneaky and just kill like one person at the end, if you can survive that long. But generally speaking, that is the goal. In Vigor, that is not the goal. The goal, at least whenever you get into an expedition, which we'll talk about later and actually see in episode 14, is about going in and finding gear you can survive with. Now this has changed. This map, it's the same area, but now it has points of interest you can click on to go see, and it has them identified. That's neat. I like that. It used to be it did an airdrop right here and you picked it up, but it's not doing that anymore. But either way, in Vigor, you decide what your rules of engagement are. If you want to go in and kill everybody you can find and loot from them, that's fine. But there is a very, very steep price to pay, and we'll talk about that in a minute. On the other hand, if you want to just go in and sneak around and find what you can and then sneak right back out again, you can do that too. One of the big concerns or big things to think about with Vigor is now right now I'm not in an expedition, I'm just in the tutorial, but when you go into an expedition, everything you bring in with you, if you die, you lose it. Everything you pick up while you're there, if you die, you lose it too. So it's a big risk-reward system. Do I want to go in with a assault rifle and 100 rounds of ammunition? And that way, and if you're confident in your shooting skills, that means you have the chance to get in there and possibly do some damage. Ooh, weapon. And possibly do some damage to other people and take stuff from them. The problem is, if you get killed, they take it from you and you don't have it anymore. It's completely gone. You can't get it back unless you have already gathered enough supplies to forge a new one or create a new one. So there are times when you do want to go in loaded for bear and you want to go after your opponents and stuff like that. There are also times when, and I've done this before, quite a few times actually. I'm going to select a new location on the map to go to here, getting me used to using this new system. There are times when I intentionally went in with no weapons at all. Nothing. I went in just with the clothes on my back, figuring if I get killed, I don't lose anything, because I have nothing to lose except stuff I found. So I always looked at it like a sunk cost. There, I'm loading my weapon here. That's trying to show me how to fire a gun. I don't really want to fire it and waste the ammo, so I'm just going to keep on going. But it really does allow you to make that determination as to how you want to, like what your rules of engagement are. If you see somebody looting and you want to go after them and try to take them out, great. If you see somebody and you want to stay hidden, great. You do whatever you want to do. The goal is get out alive with as much gear as you can, because if you die, you lose everything you found and everything you brought in with you. And that to me is the kicker. It's arguably, when I think of like a game that's punishes failure, like say Dark Souls, you lose the souls you've collected, but you don't lose the levels you've earned or the stuff you've already spent those souls on. You don't lose that. So here, like if I'm running around, let's say in Dark Souls, and I've got a set of armor and a really cool sword or whatever, when I die, I don't lose that armor and that sword. I just lose the souls I've earned. In Vigor, I lose the weapon I'm carrying. I lose all the bullets. I lose all of it. So I've got to balance that risk-reward. So that to me makes this quite interesting and pretty intense. As of now, as far as I'm aware, Vigor is available on Xbox One. And this game plays Xbox One X, actually. And it's also available on PC. It is not on PlayStation. It's a Xbox exclusive and has been for a while. You don't hear that much about it because it is technically still in beta, you know, because this is version 0.8, I believe. So yeah, it's not to release state yet. They've still got a good bit of work to do, is my understanding. But as you'll see as we go through this, and as I talk about, and especially if you watched my previous Love It or Hate It video on it, and if you were to go back and check that out, you'll see they have definitely made some changes. This tutorial area is an example. It's the same geographic area, but it has now encouraged me to explore more. It's given waypoints on the map and allowed me to select those and, you know, go loot stuff from there. And it's going to do the same thing in the locations and the expeditions, which we'll talk about probably next episode. Now, this is always a good vantage point, but if I remember from the original time I played through this tutorial, there's no danger here right now. Like this, there's just me. It's whenever I start getting, this just gives me a chance to figure out how to play the darn game. Oh, health bandages. And I'm going to use a bandage. You can see my health bar in the bottom right corner go up to about 2/3. It was at about 1/3. Now, when I played this before, I had fits using this ladder to get down, but that worked much better. And here comes the airdrop. You just heard the plane come overhead. So we should be seeing an airdrop at some point. Oh, just don't know where. Looking on the map, I see my exit spot, but where's the airdrop? Probably, I don't know, maybe I should look for a... Well, wait. What's that sound? Oh, I think I found the airdrop. So I remember when I played this the first time, you got the airdrop pretty much right away. And since I'm the only one on here, it kind of gives you that free airdrop to start getting your shelter set up, which we'll talk about soon. We'll be there soon. But I remember when I did it, I got the airdrop, but I didn't get anything for it. Like, I went back to my shelter and there was nothing there. Like, I wasn't able to open it or anything because there was nothing there to open, even though I picked it up. So I don't know if that was, it just assumed that, if maybe all the supplies I had, it was an automatic open thing. I never really understood that and didn't worry about it because I enjoyed the game enough and I didn't go after airdrops that much. But in each expedition, there will be an airdrop. So if you watched my episodes on Realm Royale where we talked about different ways that it forced you into engaging with your opponent, the methods it does this with Vigor is, and especially now with this waypoint thing on the map, it shows waypoints on the map, and you could gravitate towards those because you know there'll be a cluster of houses and barns and cars and stuff like that to loot, and everybody's there to loot and possibly to shoot, and after they're done to scoot and get the heck out of there. But in the case, but another way is the airdrop, which when it drops in, there's only one, I believe, in any expedition, and it gives you some pretty good gear. But you know, a lot of people are going to be gravitating towards that thing. So right now, I'm just, you know, I wanted to make sure to expound on this and, you know, kind of comparing this. I've got a good bit of gear here. This is probably the stuff it's going to start me with in the game. That's my guess. But I'm going to go ahead and see if I get anything from this airdrop. Like I said, when I did this before, I looted it, but it didn't show anything really. But I don't, and you don't find out till you get back to your base of operations, and we'll be seeing that in just a little bit. Okay, some instructions. There's the airdrop. Okay, looting this takes a minute. It's not like just opening a casual box. Ah, and there it just says I got the airdrop thing. Thank you. Now there's a symbol on the map if I were to open it up. It's usually an orange. It looks like a, I don't know, like a lean-to with a little symbol inside. It's like a little plus sign with a little triangle over it. You see it in the bottom of the map right about there. That's our exit point. And so whenever we get into a regular expedition, and on episode 14, we'll talk about that and what those options are. There are multiple exit points on any map except this tutorial map, obviously. And it's up to you if you want, you know, when you want to go there. Again, you determine the rules of engagement for you. So if you're ever playing this and you're on a map with me, just a pretty good bet, I'm probably going to avoid you. I'm probably just going to get the stuff I need and get the heck out of there if I can. I mean, if I have to fight, I'll fight, but I don't want to because I generally don't want to lose stuff. Now, you're probably wondering, why am I going in the opposite direction of the exit? I just wanted to make sure there wasn't any more loot that I could pick up. Just on the off chance there's something out there. Hey, like that. A box with, is that wire? I think that's wire. Okay. When I played this before, that was one of the upgrade materials you needed for various things in your shelter was wires. You needed to run stuff, like, you know, to tie stuff off, things like that. And a good place to find those at the time were vehicles, parked vehicles and stuff. You could pull the wires out of cars and things like that. That's a rock. From a distance, I thought it was something else, but it's just a rock. So I would say the graphics here are definitely more along the lines of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. I would argue maybe, I will say it runs more smoothly as of right now, but I am the only one on this map, so to be fair. When I played it before, it was a little more janky than this, but it is definitely improved. Oh, this game is by a company called Bohemian Interactive. If you've ever heard of the very well-known game DayZ, they made that. Another extremely hardcore game, although its survival structure is very different than this. Matter of fact, I may be doing some beta test episodes on DayZ pretty soon. I'll probably do this and then something else that I'm working on deciding on what that'll be, then go to DayZ, so I don't just hit you with 2 Bohemian Interactive games in a row. But not that that's a bad thing. If you like, you know, gritty realism, if, you know, PUBG level realism is your thing, then these games are there. It's just that, you know, in neither one of those cases are they battle royales, but this is very different. And let's see, can I go through there? Okay. Gotta love game design, you know. Let's just put an invisible wall here. And, you know, that's okay. I get it. This is a tutorial area. I'm the one that's, like, overdoing it here and trying to find everything I possibly can. So I'm going to head down to the exit point. Now, not only is the exit point marked on your map with that orange symbol, but it is usually actually also marked in the world. Like, on the, if you look, like I'm closing in on it now. If you look, you'll see it like an exit symbol. Oh, there's a bridge. I'm going to head on up and go across that. I think that'll get me where I'm going. But you'll also find it like sometimes spray painted on rocks and stuff near exits. So I like the sound of the footsteps on the old wooden bridge. Problem is, of course, anybody else on the map would hear it too as I'm running across like a lunatic. But there on the left of the screen, it's kind of partially cut off, but there was a symbol painted on that rock. I want to check over here to make sure I didn't miss anything. Because, I did get lucky and find some wires earlier. It sounds like it's not that important, but trust me, if it's like it was when I played before the update, and when I did my Love It or Hate It video, every piece of supply you can get, every piece of gear is important. Every tiny upgrade thing is important. But apparently this dead end is not. So we're going to go ahead and head back. And once I go, it'll take me to my shelter. And the shelter I always thought was pretty cool. And that was a way you could measure your progression in the game, is as you upgrade your shelter, you're able to create more resources to upgrade your shelter and your gear and stuff like that. And that was where, like, say, let's see, there's the symbol right there on the rock. You see it? So as I go through here, I'll just have to climb over this because I'm a rebel. These little piles of rocks, those are usually the symbol that you're going to go. But if you're just nearby, it'll start a countdown at 10 seconds. And now we're on our way. So once we get in here and get a chance to see the shelter, as you upgrade the shelter actually looks better and better. The building itself improves. It gives you a actual visual representation of the improvements you're making in the place that you're living. And so I'm going to see, what kind of changes they've made, if any. Originally, you had building. You had several places you could interact with to activate the different functions, although those functions worked at any station you went to. Okay, here we are. We're at our shelter. Okay, that looks a lot worse than I remember it looking before. I don't mean graphically. I mean the building, like its state of disrepair. I'm kind of glad about that because, as you see, as it improves and you make repairs to the building, you can definitely see them. Now there's going to be a lot more repairs and improvements to see as we go. So I think that's pretty cool. But every time you're done with an expedition, which now we're into the main part of the game, as far as I'm at my home base, anytime I leave my home base, it's going to be called an expedition, where I will go to a specific location. But here we go. This is some of the stuff that was here before. All right, I think I just saw something new down there, and now these big exclamation points. Okay, that's new. Now, oh, that's right. They did add that you could play with duos now. Like, it doesn't have to be just you like it was in the original way I played it. You can now play with 2 players if you wish. People were doing that like kind of in a cheating kind of way, in a way they weren't meant to, but now you can actually do it as a team. So here's the firing range. So anytime you have a weapon, you can bring it over here and you'll have unlimited ammo over here because, logical, I guess. And it would let you come in here and learn how each weapon handles, and they handled very differently. But you'd have like plates and little targets set up from up close all the way back, a great distance. And some of this has changed. Now there are scarecrows there. I don't remember those. But let's see. Oh, I guess I should, load it. So you can just aim like that. There went that plate. Hopefully I wasn't going to eat off that later. Yep, there you go. It's like a Greek wedding. Let's do this again. Yeah, you can do it like, let's see what this says. That's ADSing. See, you see these targets pretty distant. I'm trying to see if I can hit. So I think the scarecrow's purpose is to basically to let me know. There, I switched it to auto. Oh, blew him up. Or more accurately, blew that scarecrow up. There was actually nobody here. But you can see it's allowing me to see what kind of range the gun has, how much I have to account from each distance. And, we started with stuff really close up, but that's far away. But there's one all the way up here. There's one further up that mountain. I mean, like, for longer range weapons, there's some up there. And I couldn't hit that now to save my life, honestly. I mean, I think I might have just then, but I very much overcompensated there. And now you hit this button, and it restocks everything. So it gives you a chance to come over and try out all your gear. Okay, now this is new. When I played this before, this was all just separated off by a fence, and you just walked around. But now, what is this? It's a pier? Can I go fishing? Oh, cool. Okay, this is totally new from when I played this before. I don't know exactly what the function of this area is, but I'm willing to bet I'll find out eventually. Whoa, what was that? Okay, that out there, that red light out there, is that like an oil rig or something? I don't remember that from the first game, from when I played it before either. That could be faulty memory on my part, but that might be something new. Maybe something that they're going to have you build to. So we've got some scaffolded stuff here. So let's say, now there used to be a place around the corner you could process wood, but let's take a look inside. So your main thing you're going to interact with, although you can do anything from anywhere, honestly. Wait, what's this? Well, you know what, let's, all right, I usually went over to this one and to this one. Those were my two main interactive points. But look, so here is the map of the world. Okay, this has changed. So this is when you launch expeditions or encounters where you go out and explore a map and try to find supplies, and other players are in there. The player count is somewhere, I believe, between 8 and 16, depending on map size. You do not know how many players are there. You are never told how many players are left. You could literally be the only person in a map, or there could be 16 people all running around trying to hunt you down. You don't know. There's no way to know. Originally, it had the 6 locations marked on the map, and only 2 of them were active at a time. Now it looks like if you go on an expedition, it randomly selects a map, which is kind of cool. Okay, it's a Rubik's Cube. Well, I guess in the nuclear apocalypse, whenever, you know, broadband internet or any internet or even fishing nets are probably gone, a Rubik's Cube is about the best you can do. Okay, so here's where you mess with your gear, where you can craft new guns and weapons and stuff like that. Generally speaking, like right now you can see in the middle of the screen, that's where my inventory is that I'm carrying right now. I picked up that pistol, I picked up a knife, I picked up that assault rifle. I don't plan to keep those. I mean, generally I need to drop those and leave them here, because when I go on an expedition, whatever is on me at the time goes with me, and if I die, I lose all of it. So I don't want to I don't want that to happen. It's just what it boils down to. So before I go on an expedition, that's what I'll do. I'll drop my weapons and make a decision. Do I want to go in with any weapons and ammo or not? We'll talk more about that whenever we do our next episode, which will definitely be doing some encounters, or I keep saying expeditions, but I mean the same thing, and my apologies. But whenever we go in, we're going to totally, you know, see what options there are, and, you know, I might try to play it several different ways. You know, maybe go in with minimal weapons, go in with absolutely nothing, maybe once go in loaded for bear and see how it goes. This is your upgrade tree for your shelter, and looks like they have added to this, because whenever I did this before, you could only upgrade a few spots up. Here's where you change your gear, like what you're wearing. Okay, there's the crates. So whenever I those wooden crates are what I got from the airdrop, and now it does let me get stuff from them. So I wonder what I ended up getting. See, last time it never actually let me do this, I don't think. But I'm gonna go ahead and open it and see what I get. Okay, hold to open. Oh, cool. So a gun, some painkillers, and looks like blueprints for another gun. Cool. And I've got another one. Let's do that. Alright, hold to open. Got it. Nails, those are helpful. Chemicals, and a bayonet part. There we go. Of the things that are available, there's only 3 left that I could possibly get in a crate if I were able to get another crate. Now, it lets you do everything from these various locations. So, this table, which is the crafting table, it also allows me to upgrade my structure. It allows me to go on expeditions. It allows me to break stuff down. But I can do this from multiple locations in my shelter. I can do any of it from multiple locations in my shelter. That's the way it was when I played it before the 0.8 patch. I would have to say that I kind of would rather it be at separate locations where I have to do, because it's only like a 2-second walk. You know, that's just me. I would rather it not all be in each of those spots to make it feel more real. You know, if I made my plans at the map, if I adjusted my stuff at the crafting table, if I made adjustments to my shelter at a specific location instead of doing them all in one place. But you know, that's a minor quibble. This thing is not done, obviously, or, you know, it wouldn't be on on a show called Beta Test. But so I'm willing to bet they're going to make some adjustments to this. So in our next episode, I planned to go on some encounters and let you see what those are like from various perspectives. We'll head down here. I think there's an interactive spot down here. Right there. There it is. And you see, now that's the one. I would like that one to be where I upgraded my actual location. See, some of this does look a little different. They've added little touches here and there, which I really like. So now I do remember there was a pretty cool view back in the day. Oh wait, let's check upstairs. So I do remember there were a couple of interactive spots up here before. One over here, and that's where I assumed you would open crates. And one over here where you can do your clothes. But again, you can do anything from any one of these locations. But I would, like when the game's finalized, I would love it to be specific to a location. That's pretty cool. Also, I would love it if people could come to shelters together. Right, this is a little scenic overlook. It was here in the original, and it's a really cool spot. I can't wait to see what they do with it. But I hope you enjoyed this episode of Beta Test. Next time, we're going to go on encounters.